Field with Coach Jennifer Mchugh, head coach at San Antonio Reagan. How are you doing this morning, Coach Mchugh?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and this season, you and your girls have really been rocking it from the start all the way till last weekend. How special has this season been, and how much are you enjoying it?
Well, at the beginning of the season, actually, when we were able to start training back in August, we realized how special it is to be able to work together as a team, how special the team is, and the young women that are on it, and how we missed that connection. We missed the ability to be out on a track together. And we decided we were going to live in every single moment that we had and just never take it for granted again. So it's been a nice journey up to this point. Starting out in the beginning of the season, we definitely started in a way I feel like that they started kind of where they picked up, or they picked up where they left off, from last year. And so we were really excited about how the season opened, but we've just really maintained those process goals rather than having our eyes too far set in the future. And I know that was one of the things that I regretted last year when we got shut down, was that I was always looking toward the next thing, always looking for the next goal. Okay, well, we ran this, so that means we can run, maybe this in a couple of weeks. And I didn't simmer in the moments that we had. And so after the shutdown last year, and then, I remember going back through and looking at different races that we had run or times that we posted, and I was trying to remember, like, what was her face like, and what was that conversation that we had, and I just didn't appreciate it like I should have. And so that's really been our focus this year, was one, don't take it for granted, because it is a gift to be able to do the things that we're doing, and then two, to really enjoy the time that we have together, and this one moment that we've come together on all of our separate journeys. And then also, to take the responsibility of trying to do the best that we can, and trying to get a little bit better every day. And really, that is a responsibility. It's fun, and we're excited about the progress that we've made, but really digging deep into those process goals and trying to just get a little bit better every day. So we've seen that play out week after week at this point, and I'm really proud of them for that.
And I guess you just gave me the answer at the end of that. I was going to ask, have you seen the girls embrace that from the outside looking in, looking at the performance? I'll say they have, because it's been explosive performance, strong jumps, big throws, fast times, week after week after week, from Jasmine to from the 100 to the hurdles to the vaults to the jumps. I mean, it looks like, okay, that was great, but let's do something big again, just in case. Not saying that they're thinking just in case, but have you seen them execute that, what you've talked about?
Well, the whole idea of that process orientation for us and our team is, if we pay attention to the details and we pay attention to those little things that we need to improve on in our performances, and we pay attention to the details of practice, then those stronger performances are likely going to come. And so that really is the mentality that we take as a team, and that I take as a coach. There's going to be undulation in a season. You can't just, it's unlikely that you would continue to just run faster and faster and faster and faster, and then never have that week where you're a little bit off or you're a little bit down. Like, that's normal, that's track and field. And so, and just embracing that too, because we really do believe, like, pressure is a privilege, and those moments that you step out into competition and maybe it doesn't turn out exactly as you were expecting it to, or maybe you experienced failure that day, we still embrace those moments because there's something that can be learned from it. And so, yes, I think that, they have bought into that mentality. I do believe it is helping us to see that progression, and then also understand when maybe we do have a meet where, okay, that time wasn't exactly what we were thinking it was going to be in terms of, the process, that it's okay, things are going to go up and down. We still can work, putting our hand in the right place in the exchange zone, whether we're running 45.4 or 45.9, like there's still certain parts of the execution that can be accomplished. So yeah, I think it's been a positive mindset for them for sure.
Yeah, and I agree. But I want to take a step back to your transgressions of being a prepared coach and looking forward. Taylin, she mentioned how you like, hey, let's try the hurdles, and I'm sure that was before the season. And now looking at her heading into the state meet, 43s after never doing a hurdle before.
Right.
How have you seen some of that transpire throughout the season with her and maybe some other athletes?
Well, Taylin is a gifted individual just in general. Her personality, her attitude, her positive nature just lends itself well to trying new things and being open to being able to learn how to navigate something new. And she had a background in gymnastics, and so she has that real spatial awareness that's necessary for field events and for hurdles too. She was running fast, but there was something about what she was doing that I thought that she would probably have a successful time in the 300 hurdles. So she was really open to trying it. We started in the summer and started just learning the technique. Now, what she probably didn't tell you was that with her gymnastics background, she's this beautiful faller. I have like all of this video of her falling in practice over the hurdles when she's learning how to hurdle. And I pulled her aside on the track one morning, and it was probably September. And I was like, Taylin, if you fall again, you're not going to be able to pursue this event. Like, because she was just doing too many, like she was a long jumper, she's a triple jumper, she's on her 4x1. There were so many, she had her hand in so many things that were critical to our team's success. And she was fearless. Like, she didn't care about falling. She knew she was a good faller. She'd fallen so many times in gymnastics that it didn't bother her to fall in the hurdles. And it terrified me. And so I was like, you cannot fall again. And if you want to try to pursue this. And so she was like, okay. And I mean, in practice up to this point so far, she's definitely had her bearings a little bit more and been more conscious of that. So I'm so proud of her. I know I definitely had that thought the other day too. It was like, she just learned this event. She's a baby in the event. And, she had her first hurdle race in February, and she's now the regional champion and, getting ready to be able to try to run at the state meet. And I mean, that's a impressive journey for sure. So, and then we definitely have other athletes who have dabbled in other events as well this season. And we kind of take that mentality of, track is that balance of the individual and also the team. And I feel like that's something special about our team, is that we really do have a team mentality in an individual sport. And so people are willing to try new things that will help our team overall. And so we've had several people step into different events this season, and some of them worked out great and others of them didn't work out. And so, but that's just that willingness to be able to step in and try to do something for the team is something I really value and appreciate in the girls for sure.
Yeah, and how has I mean, you talk about you appreciate that coming off of a season where we lost with 2020 because of the pandemic, and how teachable. Well, so you just mentioned with Taylin, she's used to falling or landing on her feet or falling or posterior with gymnastics and long and triple jump, because that's what you're supposed to do. And that was a teachable moment and shows like how coachable she is. And how have you like embraced that, being able to have athletes open and give them opportunity, like you said, and see them be coachable, whether it ended up working or not? How enjoyable as a coach in this profession has this year been with trying that? And like I say, whether it works out or not, these young ladies are open to trying it. How enjoyable is that for you from after losing last year?
Oh, just from a human perspective, it makes my job the best job in the world, right? To be able to go out every day and get to work with young ladies that are really focused and driven, right? And they're wanting to accomplish particular things, but that are also open to trying new things. And it's common for me to go out into practice and say, okay, I have an idea and I think this is going to work. And if it doesn't work, I apologize right now, but I think it's going to. Are you willing to try it with me? And I think it's important for them to see in me that I'm not perfect and I'm trying new things and I'm trying to push boundaries. I think that's important as coaches and as athletes. And so that kind of pervades our entire program. And so they see me doing that and stepping out and saying, I think this is going to be a good idea, but go with me, even if it's not. And then I'm absolutely willing to admit when, hey, okay, that was my fault completely. That did not work. And I'm sorry, let's get back on track. And so it's definitely something that we embrace. Like if we're just staying stagnant and, staying in our lane and doing that thing that we know that we do well, I feel like we will lose out on the opportunity to experience something amazing. Example, Taylin in the hurdles. Like it's been a great event for her so far. And I think one that she's going to continue to develop. So.
Right. And when I was in track and field, and well, any sport really, but I learned it a lot, paying attention to coaching, because you really got some individualized coaching when I was in high school and college. You're talking about that opportunity. How big is that, and how much of an impact do you get to make on these young ladies' lives? I mean, last month or not too long ago was Women's Achievement Month. You're really you're impacted a big part of these young ladies' lives. How much do you revel in that and know that this is your position, that you try to impact them in a positive way, not just in track and field, but beyond?
Well, they equally impact mine. That's for sure. That's the truth. I don't take the opportunity to work with them for granted at all. I often think that coaching, especially coaching track and field and women's track and field, it's two parts, right? You have the part that's working with growing, developing young women of character, women of integrity, women of strength, and being able to meet them in that place, and then also coaching track and field. And then when those two things line up, that's the sweet spot, right? And very often with these girls, I get to live in the sweet spot a lot, just because they are absolutely the type of women that they're going to make something of themselves. They're going to impact the world in a positive way. You say that I have an impact on them, they really have an impact on me as well. And so it's really a privilege just to be able to work alongside them every day. And then at the same time, they're not only exceptional young women, but they really are talented and driven athletes. And so to see those two things come together for them and for our program really is a blessing.
Yeah, and you're doing an outstanding job there from the outside looking in. Reagan, especially over the last several years, have been a big program in Region 4 in San Antonio, and one of the top teams in the state when you get to that level. This year's a little bit different. You guys might be, instead of hunting or trying to get on the podium, people are like, how can we get points to work around Reagan? That positive pressure, how prepared do you think the girls are for that this upcoming weekend?
I think they are prepared for the pressure. We've definitely tried to just remind ourselves, like I said earlier, that pressure is a privilege. And there are people who embrace tension in their lives. There are people who embrace pressure and know that if we can do that, it's going to help us to become better on the other side of it with success or failure. So it really is a mentality for us that the pressure is okay. At the same time, you look at the state meet and anybody on the track can win that event. And so what we've done before next Saturday, it doesn't really matter. And we're going to go out and try to execute the best we can and keep that mentality of going after it. But at the same time, there are going to be exceptional athletes all over that track on Saturday. And it'll be a privilege to be there with them. I definitely will take a moment in the stands and just say thank you for today, because it was so hard to lose it last year. And then just really take a moment with my girls and just be grateful for being able to be there with them, no matter what happens. I mean, yes, we have goals. There are things that we're going to want to try to accomplish. And if we can accomplish it, it'll be an amazing night. But at the same time, there's a bigger picture too. And we don't want to lose sight of that either.
Yeah, and part of that bigger picture, as a coach, last year and this year, you've had a lot to deal with, emotional mentor of athletes. But one of the things I think, and I mentioned this with Taylor, seems like Reagan is like seeing you all at track meet. It's like watching you all at a family reunion.
Mhm.
How difficult was that having to separate your junior varsity and your varsity girls throughout the season?
Oh, that was one of, I understand why we had to do it, truly. But it was a very difficult thing for our team. And in the beginning, I remember having the day out on the track saying, okay, we have the guidelines for what the season is supposed to look like for us now in terms of how we're going to navigate meets, and having to tell them that our JV and our varsity weren't going to be able to compete together. And they were so sad. Like truly, the girls were sad. And I had several of my varsity athletes come up to me on different days after that meeting and say, Coach, like, I want to be able to see our JV athletes. I want to be able to see them perform. I want to be able to help them in their event. And, our JV and our varsity does practice together. We have like multiple practices during a day, but say like our triple jumpers, it's not just a varsity triple jump practice. And so not only am I coaching, but our varsity ladies are also coaching during those practices. And so they get used to being together. They feed off of one another. They rely on one another. And that was very difficult. It was also, the positive of it was we had an entire coaching staff that was dedicated to JV on a particular day. Whereas sometimes in the past, maybe a JV competition was happening and a varsity one on the same day, and we'd have to split the staff. So our JV ladies on some meets definitely had more eyes on them, more one-on-one help. And so that definitely was a positive as well. But I remember our first track meet this season, we kicked off with a JV meet at Judson. And the varsity ladies, I was getting ready to stay to do a handoff practice and like meet prep because they were racing the next day. And our JV ladies are walking to the bus, which was parked close to the track. And I was coming out of the athletic building and I just hear this cheering, like this just boisterous, loud cheering. And I was like, what is happening? And I like turned the corner from the building and our varsity team had come down and they're just like sending them off, like in this
Seriously.
authentic, just like gives me chill bumps to think about it, send off. And I was like, that's what's special about these girls. Like it really is. It wasn't like, oh, hey guys, good luck, go get it. It was like, we love you, we're with you, like, come on. And that was probably one of the moments I'll remember most in the season. And we weren't even on the track, so.
Wow, that's crazy. That's awesome. Awesome to hear. You can tell just that the girls, well, just the program, and even the boys, is special around there. So where did you bring your culture? I'm going to call it to Reagan. Where did you get it? Like high school, college? What is your background, and how did it develop to what you are teaching right now?
Well, I think culture evolves for sure. I spent several years at Roosevelt High School as a track coach there, and I absolutely loved the time that I spent there. Talk about family here, it was family there too. And just with the coaches that I worked with, and then also the athletes that were on the team, an incredible group of young women that I was able to be around there. And that's where I kind of cut my teeth on coaching, really. I made a lot of mistakes, but at the same time started learning like how to get young women to believe in themselves, to get them to be able to do things that for one another, and to develop a team culture of track. And like I said earlier, I think that team culture in track and field is kind of a missing link for track right now. Because there is that individual element to it, of course, and that's a positive thing, right? If there's an individual that happens to be very, very successful and maybe the team is struggling, it's a great thing that person can still accomplish his or her goals. But I do think that the team mentality and the family mentality and that idea of sacrificing and serving for the greater whole was developed at Roosevelt High School. It really was. And then when I got here, the team was different. It was a different group of young women and with different needs, different strengths. And so I had to adapt myself. as well. And that was a challenge in the beginning because, you know, like I said, I was young to coaching at Roosevelt. And so, you know, you develop within this system and you think, okay, this is the answer. This is what it's supposed to look like. I can do this anywhere, right? And then you get to Reagan and I was like, whoa, no, that is not what I need to be doing. And so I had to figure out a kind of a new way of doing the same thing. And because the team mentality is the same and the family is the same and the support your teammate is the same. But you have to approach it in a different way. And so it's just so fluid. Every year is different, even here. And so just depends on the leaders that you have on the team and like what their strengths are and their personalities. We have a great group of senior leaders right now. And so very often they're the ones we do like leadership circles as part of our off season. And the girls actually develop the topics that they want to discuss and that they think the team needs to discuss based on their pulse on the team. And then we split up, and you don't have to be a senior or an upperclassman to be on the leadership team. My requirement is that you want to serve Reagan track and field. And so we have freshmen that decide that they want to step into that leadership role. And so we divide up our leaders and they sit in little pods and we discuss the topics for the day. And I feel like that has really brought that family feel to what we do. And also, you know, it's great to see, you know, for our young ones to see athletes like Madeline McElroy or Jasmine Montgomery who, you know, have some of the same thoughts that they do. You know, it's just kind of on a different level for them at the time. But, you know, those same tensions and those same fears and those same celebrations, it's good to be able to see that among the entire team or from event to event. It's an opportunity for, you know, maybe our distance ladies to connect with our sprinters, which wouldn't necessarily happen as frequently. So I think that also is one of those pieces to our program that really helps to bond the girls in a way outside of track and field, through track and field, because it's important, but also on a bigger level.
Yeah, and I mean that's amazing that you're adopting and maneuvering with it like that. And you mentioned, well, I'm saying you have a action-packed, star-studded team, and you mentioned some of the other girls, like you have we talked about Taylin, you have Mackenzie in the high jump, Alyssa in the jumps and the vaults, and even Madeline McElroy, you said in the 100, who's a senior and helps lead the team. But you have one young lady that, I mean, oh my gosh, I had her on a watch list to be one of the top athletes in the state, and she's like taking like astronomical bounds past that in Jasmine Montgomery. Talk about she just looks so zoned in on this season. Like, talk about her. Explain to me what do you have in her, and where's her mind right now?
Zoned in is the perfect way of describing it. That's it, 100%. She's zoned in on the season, and she absolutely has some things that she wants to accomplish. One of the things that I think sets Jasmine apart is that she really is a student of the sport. And so, you know, she's the type that will go back and evaluate film and work on just a little piece here and there that will help her to be able to shave 1,000th here or 100th there. And she will do whatever's necessary. And that, I think, is a quality that is resulting in her success. If it's you know, coming in early, staying late, getting an extra session on the weekend, you know, whatever she needs to do to be able to accomplish what she has set out to accomplish, there's no other option, and in her mind. And so I think that's what's driving her right now. I know that she was disappointed to miss out on last season because she was progressing very, very well. And then, you know, to have that eliminated from her ability to continue that progress, she and her family were able to go out and find different races in the summer, and for her to be able to continue that competition, that was very, very helpful. And she just continued to train. And so I don't think it is even in Jasmine's mind that she's not going to do everything possible to accomplish what she wants to accomplish. And that trait is rare. You know, there's a lot of people who talk about wanting to, be a state champion or wanting to be a regional champion or whatever that may be. And, but Jasmine's a doer. And so the example that she sets for our team is something that, I owe her for, truly, because she really is, she not only is as talented as she is, but she's kind to our younger teammates. She'll take time and work with them on starts, or she definitely is the person that, nobody could ever say, well, Jasmine's not doing that. No, Jasmine's doing more. And so I'm happy for her right now, proud of her. And I'm definitely excited to watch her run on Saturday.
Let me know if I'm wrong. She's a very kind young lady. She's sweet. Her smile can light up a room.
It does.
Running, does she just look like she's mad when she's running? She looks like she's mad at the track from the gun till she crosses the line.
I think she's on a mission. I don't think it's mad. I think it goes back to that whole responsibility. Like, she's been gifted, and she takes it as a responsibility to do her very best. And she's 100% on a mission every time she steps on the track. So she definitely had some races this season where she just was not feeling her best, just physically, before being on the track, and it just didn't even occur to her to not do it. Knowing that she wasn't 100% that day, she would still get out there and absolutely do her best. She thrives on competition. And so that, again, is one of the things that I owe her for, in terms of that example that she leads for the rest of the team.
Yo, she looks like she's tearing that track up in every race. And what is it like to have her on the end of a 4x1? You have Madeline leading off, if I'm not mistaken, and then you have like two just outstanding girls that do their job in Taylor and Alyssa. And how special has that been to watch those four young ladies this year?
Oh gosh, that's been so special. It really has. Their chemistry is really firing on all cylinders right now. They've had the opportunity to work together for more than a season, and so I feel like we're kind of seeing that come into play now. They've had multiple reps of being able to read one another and be in tune to one another and watch one another in competition and in practice. And so I feel like that is really invaluable in terms of them being able to execute under pressure. So I've been excited to watch them grow through that. And, we had a little bumpy exchange at the regional prelim in the 4x1. It was just an insane day, and, cleaned it up for the next day. And then I was talking to Taylor and Alyssa yesterday on the track, and I was like, okay, we got our groove back, because their exchanges look great. And both of them were like, Coach, we never lost it. Like, it's all good. Like, they have this confidence about it. And I said at Maddie's signing earlier in the school year, when she was signing with Texas Tech, I told the audience that was there, I said, Maddie starts our 4x1, and she had started many of our relays at that point. And I said, I couldn't pick a person that I would like to see standing behind the blocks, getting ready to start for Reagan, other than Madeline McElroy. I mean, she just has a foundation and a grounding to her that makes everybody else feel like it's going to be okay. And it's just really, really special, just the way that she carries herself. And she's fierce as can be, but there's just this real calm that she brings to the team. And Taylor and Alyssa also, they're the ones on the team that are running around doing everything, vaulting and jumping. And so it's really good to have those anchors on the end for them, so that, it's like, okay, let's get it to Jasmine and she'll handle her business. And, Maddie's going to start it off for us. And Alyssa and Taylor are definitely doing a great job. Alyssa runs a beautiful curve, I think. And Taylor and Maddie are just have been consistently really strong in their exchanges this year. So I'm happy with the chemistry.